Okay, welcome. We're good. Okay, we're recording. So this is the training for Instagram, specifically how to sell on Instagram. Right now, all of my clients are coming from Instagram, all of my engagements coming from Instagram, which I never actually thought would happen. And I also love Instagram, which I also never thought I would say. I have really grown an appreciation for it and use it specifically for business. So today, in today's training, I'm only going to be talking about how to use Instagram for business because that's what I use it for. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple structures. I'm also not going to send out notes for this, so make sure to take notes. If you have questions, DM me after. So the first thing I want you to consider, the winning structure of your business really only has three parts. Business is really, really simple. We just overcomplicate it. So I want to break it down. All that you're doing is, number one, building a community. Number two, you are engaging with your community and providing value and engagement. Number three is you're providing an offer. That's all you're doing. So we don't need to complicate it any further. I'm going to add a little bit to that. When you build community, especially since we're training on Instagram today, you have to make sure you're getting people's email addresses. Being part of Instagram isn't good enough. You have to funnel them, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we give them a call to action as we're talking about Instagram, okay? Number two is, don't be scared to give. I often get the question, and I had this question myself when I first was starting. What do I put on Instagram? What don't I put on Instagram? At the end of the day, you put it all on Instagram and you don't care about giving away too much value. Because, so when I asked my coach, what do you put on Instagram? What's in your course? What do you sell? He literally said to me, if someone were to go through every single video, they would get my course. But they're not going to go through every single video. They also don't get it in order, so it makes things really confusing. So don't feel you have to have this specific strategy of, this is what I talk about on Instagram. Give it all. People want to know you. And people also want to know, like, and trust you. And we'll kind of get into that as well. Okay, I'm going to go through the 12 reasons why people purchase and are going to purchase from you. Number one is scarcity. Okay, so if you can give some sort of limiting offer, or you're only selling to a certain amount of people, or it's only being sold for a certain amount of time, they will buy for scarcity. Or you're only selling X amount, they will buy for nostalgia. If it reminds them of something in their past, they will buy it for that reason. Number three, if you can take them away from a pain and closer to a dream or desire, they will buy from you. This is included in product, even jewelry, right? So one of the girls before, when we were introducing ourselves, says she sells jewelry. How do you make jewelry taking away from pain and towards desire? The pain could be insecurity, and the desire can be confidence and feeling good about yourself. So you can really use it for any industry. Number four, if you can save them time, money, and bring them more success. Same goes for jewelry. And I'm using jewelry because it could be construed as something just beauty related. And that's not true, because if you feel good, you show up differently, you change your vibration, you'll actually show up differently in the boardroom and have more success. But you have to draw that parallel for your client. They cannot read between the lines. Number five is social proof. This is testimonials, other people that have used you or your product. Number six is community. People will also buy into community and network. Number seven is people will also buy events and rituals. It's an experience. People will buy an experience. 8, people will buy you and your likability. You are your brand, especially in today's world, whether you believe it or not. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Number 9, people will buy anticipation, being the first to a product. Again, this is kind of tied to scarcity, but the limited amount and just getting ready for something. If you can give a pre-sale for something, they'll buy that as well. Number 10 is trust. You want to know that people trust you. So that is what ties to what I was talking about earlier of value. If you can give people value, then people will naturally trust you, because people aren't going to buy your product if they have no idea what you're even selling and everything's behind a paywall. Number 11 is reciprocity. This is also tied to value. If you're constantly giving away free things, and I'll give you an example from actually Corona. During Corona, in the beginning, I went live every single day in my Facebook community just to provide value and for people to get to know me better, because I knew that they were home and a lot of people had more time. So I used that availability and that opportunity not to sell anything, yet my sales during those 3 weeks doubled. Because when you give, people feel like they want to give back to you. So you're creating the lesson of reciprocity where they go, you know, shit, Jessica's giving me so much value. I want to pay her. You want people to want to pay you. And 12 is authority. You want to look like the expert. And this is also tied to celebrity. If you can show that you're some authority, either an expert, an influencer, your network, that people will look up to you as an expert in that industry, then they will also buy from you because they know, like, trust you. Okay? So those are your 12 points. I'm going to go into the next part is who they buy from. I already talked about this. They have to know, like, and trust you. This is why Instagram is amazing. And this is why we are now our brand, which brings me into brand. Okay. So many people skip this step when going into Instagram. And I really want you to think about, what is your brand? What do you stand for? I want you to survey maybe 5 to 10 people that know you really well. And I want you to ask them 2 questions. Well, actually 3 questions. Number 1, I want you to ask them what your brand is. Number 2 is I want you to ask them what they think your superpower is. And number 3 is I want you to ask them, what do people not know about me? What do they not see? And this will help you to build your brand. A couple other really, really important questions for your brand is I want you to ask yourself, and this kind of goes to my truth and how I coach and how I do business. I believe that we connect on a soul, a vibrational level with everyone, including our clients. I want you to ask yourself, how do I want my clients to feel? Really feel when working with me, buying my product, buying my service. How do I want to make them feel? And then your job, number 1, is to embody that every day of your life in your brand, so that you become a walking representation of your brand. And then I want you to sell things that help them to feel that way. That becomes your goal. It's super easy. That ties you to your brand and makes you super raw and authentic. We can always tell, even if it's just in the back of our mouths. And I say that, like, when you eat something and something's kind of tangy in the back of your mouth, it's the same thing when you buy from someone who isn't living and breathing everything that they're telling you. So that's what Instagram is for. You get to show people how you're being everything that you're trying to teach them and helping them to feel. Product, services alike. Okay? So brand, really, really important to crystallize your brand. And we'll talk about that a little bit more, even in the, when we go and do the audits, because you'll see when it's really consistent, when it's not. And the thing is, I also want to give you permission to evolve, and that's okay. My brand too has evolved a lot over the past 6 months. I need you to adapt. And these are consistent questions to be asking yourself. I ask myself these questions every couple of months. because you want to make sure that you're still being authentic to your brand, and you can tell when a brand no longer fits the person. Okay, so next I want you to think about, I need you to know who your audience is. Who is my audience? Who am I talking to? This is really important because, like I said earlier before we started recording, so I'm going to say it again. Selling on Instagram is a language that's going to take you time, but understanding your audience is the key at that. So some things I need you to know. I need you to know who's your audience. I need you to know what are their pain points, what keeps them up at night, what are their challenges. Because in those pain points and in those challenges, you're going to be able to solve their problems. What are they Googling? What is, what are their fears? What are their worries? What are their anxieties? And then I need you to know what their goals are. What are their dreams? What are their desires? Because then your product, your service, you become the solution to their problem. So this ties to your brand. What problem are you solving? If you don't know what problem you're solving, your Instagram is going to be all over the place. It needs to be super clear. Okay, is this making sense? Okay, so this is kind of like the housekeeping items. One other thing that I want to mention. With your community and with your audience, it's okay to not know those answers. You need to be surveying your community weekly. You need to be asking them all the time. Who are you? What are you doing right now? How are you feeling? What are your worries? What are your challenges? If any of you belong to my online Facebook community, you'll know I ask this weekly in different ways. And I create discussions, I create polls. I always want to know where my people are at, especially different seasons. Natural COVID is huge, right? You want to know how are your people adjusting? Do I need to adjust my offer? Do I need to adjust the solution that I'm giving them? Do I need to adjust my messaging for the solution? And usually that's the answer. Usually you don't need to change your entire offer, but your messaging is really important. All of these things I just talked about, your audience, your pain points, your goals, your brand, that's how you develop your messaging for your Instagram, okay? Any questions about that before we move into the technicalities of Instagram? We're good? Okay, we're gonna go into some general rules with Instagram, okay? Number one is repurpose, repurpose, repurpose. Save everything, turn them into YouTube videos, put them on TikTok. You can also use the same posts and same stories months later and no one will even notice. Okay? I'll talk about that when we get to posts and feeds, but just repurpose everything. Number two is we're going to go with the 50-50 rule. 50% teaching and education, 50% lifestyle. Because people want to know you are your brand. Number three is I need you to remember to have fun with it. And the thing that makes me have the most fun is that question I asked you when I talked about branding. How do you want your people to feel? I am so passionate about helping my people to feel good that I just talk and talk and talk and probably could keep talking more because it is so ingrained in me to help my people feel good. So all that you're doing on social media is figuring out how do you want your people to feel. You're living it and breathing it every day, and then you're teaching people what you do to feel that. That's it. It's super simple. Same with any product, any service. That's what connects it to the brand of who you are. Does that make sense? Is that connecting some things for you ladies while you're listening? Okay. I also need you to really commit and be consistent. I know this is tough. And I know it's going to be so uncomfortable because it was super uncomfortable for me. I was so bad and so awkward. So I need you to remember that you are going to be bad. And that's okay because you're showing up and nobody cares and you're just learning, you have to be bad to get good. You have to start somewhere, right? So I know even when my clients talk to me about social and they're like, how do I say this? They're going, man, you know how to say this so well. It's just because I've done it a million times. That's it. So you have to be bad. I just want to make sure you understand that and you know that. Laugh at yourself and pay attention to the internal dialogue that comes up. Are you saying to yourself, oh man, I'm such shit. I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm worthless. Like, look at me. I look like an idiot. I look fat. I need to put more filters. Like, stop it. Just say, oh, I'm bad right now. Can't wait to get better. Like, Instagram is such an opportunity to magnify all of your insecurities, all of your fears, and I need you to embrace them, learn from them, and grow through them. Okay? All right. Let's see. Okay. And then I need you to also remember on Instagram that you're only talking to one person. So when you're making a video, you're making a post, you're saying, hey, you. It's not, hey, you guys, thanks so much for watching. Like, no. On Facebook, so you'll notice that my language changes. In my Facebook community, I'm talking to multiple people. I usually say like, hey, ladies, hey, everyone, because it's a little bit more public. On Instagram, they're still looking at it on their phone. And this I did intentionally through branding. As my personal brand, I'm talking to one person. As my ladies community brand, I'm talking to a community. You have to know, who are you talking to? One person or a community? Usually on Instagram, you're talking to one person. You want the person on the other side of that post or that story to say, holy shit, Maggie gets me. That's exactly how I feel. Yes, like I totally am there. I want to listen. Okay. So I'm going to give you my exact structure that I use in all of my posts and my stories. And then we're going to go through some technical ways to do that. Okay. Here's another light bulb moment that I had when I was thinking about Instagram. You have to put yourself in your clients and or your audience, their mind. What are people thinking about on a Monday? They're usually needing some sort of motivation. They're getting back to work. On a Tuesday, they're really deep in their work. That's when you can educate. That's when you can give them a lot of knowledge. Wednesday's their hump day, right? You can be a little bit more fun. You can still give education on a Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, they're starting to trail off. So I'll give you an example. When I did my lives on Facebook, and the same translates to Instagram. Mondays, I stick to motivation. Tuesdays, I talk about business. I get right into it. Wednesday, I can talk about mindset. I still give a lot of tips. It's a really practical education. Thursday, Friday, I get to relationships and networking because people are going into the weekend. They start thinking, who am I going to hang out with? Or shit, I have no friends. So you want to get into their head. On a Friday night, don't post about your business. People don't really care. People are just wanting to have a good time and relax from the week. Same on a weekend. On a weekend, they might be reflecting on their week. They'll be preparing for their next week, and they'll be chilling and relaxing. So make sure your posts actually are meeting your viewer where they are in their life right then and there. Too often I see it doesn't mix. You know, someone will post about a sale on a Friday night. And like, unless they're drinking wine and buying stuff, loosey-goosey, your verbiage just needs to change. So if we go back to jewelry, I'm liking this little, industry here. If you go back to jewelry on a Friday, it's like, hey, you want to go out, you want to look good. You know, on a Monday, it's getting ready for that business meeting. How do we look professional, right? So you're just getting into their head. Okay. Now, here's where I want to give you some exact breakdowns of what you can talk about, okay? So number one, I need you to know, what are you an expert at? Let's get really clear. If you don't know what you're an expert at, nobody else is going to know what you're an expert at. This is really important when we build your bio. When you build your bio in Instagram, you need to really clearly say, what are you helping them change and what are you helping them get? Super simple. And we'll get into that when we do some audits. I'll show you some live examples. Okay. Now, when we go into how you're going to show them what you're an expert at, you can do that by teaching. You can do that by giving testimonials. You can do that by just, by giving truths and myths in your industry and common beliefs. You can do that by tying to a celebrity testimonial or a celebrity example. People like celebrity stuff. And you can also tie it to your story. So this brings it back to your brand. Here's a little extra homework piece in here in branding. I want you to write out your story. I need you to know, what is your story? What do you not want people to know? You got to tell them all of it. Like, put it all out on the table. And then it's through your story that you can comb through your story and think, okay, here are my defining moments. Here's what I did. And how do I want people to feel? And what are their pain points? And then you're going to go through your story and go, okay, where did I experience those pain points? What solutions did I give myself at those times? That makes you the expert. You've usually been there. And then it's gotten you to where you are today. And this brings you back to the know, like, and trust factor. People know, like, and trust you because you've been there, because they want to be you, because they want to be friends with you, because they look up to you. Is this all kind of tying together? Okay. So now I'm going to get to the exact system I use for all of my posts, all of my stories, feeds, everything. Okay. It breaks down to 4 steps. Super easy. Give me 2 seconds. I need to blow my nose. Okay. Would you believe I'm actually allergic to my cat? So whenever I travel and come home, it takes me a week to get back adjusted to being around her. Okay. So number 1, so your 4 steps, the first step is always the subject line, basically, of an email. You're going to tell them what you're going to tell them. And I'm going to give you an example. Number 2 is you're going to indicate the problem. This is you connecting directly to your client. And I'll give an example right after this, so it'll make it really clear. This is the pain point. The problem is the pain point that they're experiencing. Then you're going to actually give a tip to help with that pain point. And then you're going to give a call to action. Very simple. Every post, every video has the same format. If you want to add in a testimonial or social proof, you can do that after or within step 3 when you're giving the tip. Like, oh, this worked for me, or this worked for my client. Okay, so let me give you an example. Does anyone have an example that they want me to use within their business of a post? Anyone? Jessica's not muted, so I'm going to pick on you, Jess. Do you have any posts that you were going to post about? If not, I can just come up with, okay, Jessica's an intimacy coach, okay? So basically, if I were to just pick a topic, let's pick a topic of, I don't know, feeling like you're going to be alone forever, okay? And a single girl. Okay, subject line is, hey you, or whatever, like, I see you. You can start it differently. At the end of the day, your subject line is, do you feel like you might be alone forever? Pain point is, I know you're watching all your friends get married, have children, and you're thinking, when will it be me? Right? It's a pain point. In that statement right there, that sentence, you want them to say, yep, that's me. I'm going to keep reading. Right? So if you see the structure, they're basically looking at the topic and the subject line, the first line, is this for me? Do I want to keep reading? Then you ask them like a question, you address the problem. Yep, okay, this is for me. Yep, I'm going to keep reading. So you get the 2 check marks, and then you give them the tip. Great. Here's a tip that I'm going to give you to find your ideal man, or to not feel alone, or to combat loneliness. You give them the tip, and then you give a call to action. So I'm going to give a bunch of examples of what your call to action can be. Your call to action can be send me a DM. Your call to action can be comment below. Your call to action can be tagging someone, sharing the post with someone. You can send them to a free download or an event. You can also ask them for a referral and or to book a one-on-one call with you. So, and or to purchase something, right? So you want to make sure you're always giving a call to action. One really good one I need you to consider. Make it a really low barrier to entry. So a common mistake I usually see people make is they'll say, DM me if you feel this way. Okay, well, number one, it wasn't specific enough. It was way too general. It's a lot easier for you to say, DM me lonely if you're feeling lonely at night and you need me in your corner. Or DM me lonely and I'll give you a free 20-minute consultation to help you through this time in your life because you are not alone. Do you see how, number one, I gave them a word to DM me? It makes it a lot simpler and it lowers the barrier to entry so they never think like, what am I supposed to ask them? Then you're also being very specific. So again, they're saying, yes, that's me. I need to DM her. So even saying like, if this resonated with you, DM me, you can be more specific, right? So just be as specific as possible in the call to action. You can also do this with products and with services. Depending on the price point of your product, DM me for a free consultation. DM me for some recommendations of the best like colors for your skin tone. Anytime you can pull them and give them some sort of custom and make them feel important. You can also sell them in the DMs, and I'm going to get to how to specifically sell people in DMs as well. Okay? So is the system clear of the exact structure of what to say as well as the call to action? Yes, we got some thumbs up. Okay. You're going to use the exact same structure in your stories as in your feed. It's the exact same thing. One, you're just talking, one, you're just writing. Okay. I'm going to now go into the feed and stories and all that jazz. And then I'm going to go into specifics. I'm going to pull out my phone. We'll be able to pull out our phones and practice some stuff too. Okay. So let's talk bio quickly. Bio, something that may not be obvious. I need you to use the same picture on all of your social media. The same picture should be on your WhatsApp, your TikTok, your Facebook, your Instagram, so that people start to recognize your face and that picture. Like my picture, I have the same picture I have on my Zoom. It's like this purple sweater. So even if people don't recognize my face, they start seeing the purple sweater all the time. Oh, like it looks familiar, so that people know where to find you. On YouTube, it gets really confusing when it's a picture too far. And if it's a different picture for every social media, they don't know if it's the same person or not. So make it consistent. Also get a professional photo. I'm going to be very blunt, even when we get into the audits. Don't be scared. I'll be kind. It's coming from a loving place. But I need you to get professional photos. If you can't afford it, there's always a way around it. Offer them free product, free services, do an exchange, do a contra deal. And just say, hey, like I'll coach you for free, or I'll give you some free earrings, or I'll give you some nutrition or whatever. Just find a way, see what their problem is and what their challenge is, and see if you can mutually be beneficial for each other. I'll refer you to some friends, right? See what you can do to get as many photos as possible. When you do a photo shoot, I need you to know a few things. I need you to know how long the photo shoot's going to be, if they're going to edit the photos, and how many costume changes you can have. I usually do a 4 or 5 hour shoot and change my clothes like 4 or 5 times, even 6 if I can get in an extra change, because then I have photos for months as opposed to just one photo. And then I usually do a shoot, twice a year, every 6 months. And then in between, I'll just take photos when I'm out and about. Oh, if you're American on this, You just heard my little Canadian because you guys don't say out and about. Okay, so that, and then within the bio, we're going to go into audits as well. Remember, what is the problem you're solving? Be very specific. If you are a coach listening to this and or whatever, in some sort of self-development, I always see like, you know, make you feel good. I want you to be your best. Like, that's not enough. It's really is not enough. I need you to be thinking about what are people going to resonate with? So let's go to nutrition. People are going to resonate with, I'm going to help you lose 2 dress sizes in 90 days. Yep, that's me. You know, and I know that one specifically weight loss, and that triggers some people. I don't want that to trigger you. However, do you see how specific it is? I help you, you know, fit into your clothes, look better in the mirror. I'm going to help you get 10 dates in the next 90 days. You know, people want to know the result that you can give them. And sometimes people get too airy-fairy in the result, and then it just confuses people. Okay. I want you then, okay, we're going to now go into stories. We'll talk a little bit more about bio when we can do specific examples in the audits. But does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Stories. This is going to be tough. I need you to show up every day. And I need you to give a tip every single day. I need you to also show your face because people need to see you. This will add to the know, like, and trust factor. And again, you're going to be really bad. Excuse me. When you start, you're going to be awkward. Make fun of yourself. Be like, hey guys, like, I'm trying to commit to showing up every day. Make it really simple for yourself and just give one tip. Don't try to give, this is the thing when you first start. And I had the same thing. You have so much to say, you don't even know where to start. Because you could talk for 5-10 minutes about everything, right? But just be like, here's one tip to feel better of yourself when you look in the mirror. Here's one tip to style your outfit on Monday morning. Here's one tip to network at a party. That's it. Get really, really simple. Okay? At the end of the day, if you look at your brand and you look at how you're delivering it, you're only really giving 5 messages every single time. So I only talk about business, networking, relationships, and mindset, and like my lifestyle, and just me. Like, what are the 5 things you're talking about? And just know those ins and outs, and then just keep repeating them. You will need to repeat. That's what branding is. People being very clear to know you. Oh, yep, Joanne is known for this. Be really clear, know that niche, okay? So I want you to show up daily. I want it to be your face. I want you to save them because you can use them later when you don't feel like it, and still use that same structure, the 4-step structure. And you can also film a bunch at once. So this tip goes for any video, whether it's on your feed, YouTube, Instagram. If you can have something interesting in the background, views will increase. So often people think like I have to be seated at like a pretty table, whatever. I get less views when I'm sitting here at my couch than when I'm walking down the street holding my arm. Because people are looking at what's behind you. If you can have an animal behind you, like your pet, just jumping around, the days have changed where things need to look perfect and staged. You don't need to be in this great room. Lighting is really important, yes, but it doesn't matter where you are. If people are walking behind you, even better. Get really comfortable filming while walking down the street like an idiot. It's a little bit more acceptable now. You're just going to have to get used to it. So your challenge for this next week is get on Instagram and walk down the street while filming. Melissa's like, no, I hate you so, or Jessica's like, no, I hate you so much. She's like, nope. You can do it, right? And it is uncomfortable, but I literally, when I'm in Vegas, and I was in Vegas before COVID, I filmed, I took a whole afternoon. I just walked from one end of the strip to the other, and I filmed 20 videos. I filmed my stories and I filmed my feed. A couple tech tips When you film your stories, you want to film it like this. When you film your feed, you need to film it like this. It's easier to edit. And so I usually will film. So when you're doing your stories, obviously it only is in 15-second intervals. So if you can, get really good at it, you're going to try to do each step in 15 seconds. If you need a fifth or, a sixth at most, okay. But try to get really good in doing your stories in 4. Sometimes I see it just drags on a little bit too much. Also, keep in mind that people often watch video on silent. So make sure that you have writing, just a sentence of what you're talking about in that 15-second interval so that people know what you're talking about and can turn on the volume or save it if they need to come back. So actually write out the tip, right? You'll see on my stories, I just write out something on each slide. Your second slide, your second point, when you're addressing the pain point, that slide is really good as a poll, because then you can see who actually has that pain point. I'm talking to you if you're single. I'm talking to you if, you don't feel confident walking into a boardroom, or you're looking for a raise, whatever it is that you teach. Okay. That way you are also surveying and gathering data. So I'm always gathering data in everything that I do, right? Like I told you already, survey. You can do that through your stories and through your polls. So that if you're doing tips on single women and everybody said, no, they're not a single woman, well, then maybe you need to modify what you're talking about in the tips that you're sharing. Okay. So here's sometimes what people get confused about in this topic. Sometimes people feel that they have to change their brand for their community. And that's not true. I want you to get back to that feeling. How do you want people to feel? And then just ask yourself, how can I creatively express my gifts to help people feel this way? Don't get so stuck on the how. And that way you'll continue to evolve and adapt as an entrepreneur. Same thing goes here during COVID. I've had clients that have not been able to adapt because they're too stuck on them doing business in a specific way. When they're not able to pull back and say, how do I want people to feel? Okay, what's the solution? How can I help them get there based on my skills and expertise? You'll be able to modify and adapt a lot faster and succeed. This is not the end of COVID and the change of many, many industries. So just keep asking yourself, how do I want people to feel? How can I creatively express that? Okay, stories. Any questions about stories before we move into feed? One other tip about stories is make sure, so a couple mistakes that people make is make sure your video, like the screen, the thing is actually clean. You need to have good video quality. So if the quality is blurry, it's really hard to watch. The lighting needs to be good, obviously. And then you can also use hands-free mode. So don't feel like you have to click it. So when you go into your stories, I'm going to quickly go in. Now on the side, they changed it. So on the side here, you just click down and then you go hands-free. And that's how I do my stories on hands-free. Just pay attention to the bottom. It now stops after 4 15-second intervals. So just make sure you finish a thought before it stops automatically and then go from there. Okay. Okay. Going on to feed. So your feed should be a mixture of 3 things: video, quotes, and pictures. Okay. Your videos are about 2 to 3 minutes. So you can start to see the change. Your videos and your stories are like 15 seconds to 30 seconds, maybe a minute at most. Your feed are 2 to 3 minutes. Your pictures are usually more personal. Here's also where you need to gather data. Go into your insights and look at what people are liking, sharing, saving. Okay? And then your quotes. If you need help with making your quotes look pretty, you may or may not know of it. I use Canva. It's a free service and you can just make things look good. Stay consistent with your color schemes that you use. Pick some colors within your brand, and then it'll make it a little bit easier for you. You'll probably see I'm fooling around with some colors right now because I'm trying to pick some new colors for my brand, but stick to the same colors and fonts. I'm not so good at the font thing. Again, I'm trying to find the font that I like right now, but do you see how like it's okay? Things evolve. People don't really care if you're using one color of shade of peach and another shade of peach, but for your own consistency, figure it out and then use that moving forward. So fonts and colors. Okay. Also gather your data. So what I have seen is my quotes and videos have more saves and shares, but my pictures of me still have more likes. That's why you want to have a variety. Now, here's also where you want to keep up with the changes of Instagram. And I say this because Instagram is always changing and you want to know the algorithms and just how people use it. Right now, it's really raw and it doesn't matter how pretty your feed is anymore. Like before, people used to have grids and patterns, and that's just not as popular anymore. So don't feel like you have to do a grid. If that doesn't resonate with you, your content and value is more important. I know that was really big, especially when Instagram first came out. Okay, and then even with your quotes, now I find, the tips and the quotes that now they're called a carousel, where you can swipe right for, here, I just did one last week, or here are my 4 tips to networking, swipe right. And then each swipe is a tip. You can put up to 10 pictures in your carousel. And then I just did that on Canva. The same thing goes for your videos. Try to get something fun in the background, a good lighting, and, smile. That's something I want to say about your pictures too, and I want to tie it back to brand. I am noticing the time. We're probably going to go over, so if you have to leave, no big deal. Head on out. You can catch the recording after. But with the feed, one common mistake I see is their photos don't connect to their brand. You want to be likable, like smile, have fun. You want to look at what is my highest self? How do I want people to feel? And do people feel that looking at my feed? And if they don't, just see how do you need to modify it to feel the way that you want them to feel. Marketing and sales and Instagram, it's all a feeling. And sometimes I even struggle with that, especially with the timing. Like on a story, in 15 seconds, I'm trying to quickly give value that I feel like I'm not always as warm as I want to be. So that's kind of why I like to use the videos or lives. Your lives will be about 15 minutes because that's when people can start to actually feel your personality a little bit more. So just keeping in mind the different times and exactly what you show. Reels, so we're going to move into reels. Reels are also really good for personality. So reels are only 15 seconds. They're the shortest. For reels, they literally just came out like 4 days ago. I've been playing with them. And reels are really good for 2 things, tips and lifestyle. So you'll see I'm trying to be a little bit more playful in my reels, especially because there's music. Here's where you can show more personality. Now, reels, I'll go into a little bit of the tech later if you're having trouble figuring it out. There is a glitch in reels right now. The glitch that I'm experiencing, and then when I've researched, is my reels are not posting on my feed right now. They're only posting on my reels, even though I put share on my feed. So if that's happening to you, it is a glitch in Instagram right now. I haven't figured out how to fix it. And I've been on, forums, and nobody knows how to fix it yet. So if it's happening to you, don't worry. Reels right now are really important because Instagram is favoring people that share reels. They want people to be on it. Your reel could get thousands of hits right now. Be just like TikTok, when TikTok is really big. You can now use then your reel and bring it onto TikTok because it's still 15 seconds. All they are doing with Reels is trying to compete with TikTok. I like the surface of on Instagram, the Reels surface. I find it pretty easy. I find it a little bit easier than TikTok, but that's just because I prefer Instagram right now. Don't feel, with that being said, I don't want you to feel like you have to master each platform. Pick one and go from there. Okay. Okay. So what else can I say about Reels? That's great. Your lives, 10 to 15 minutes. The great thing about lives is you can also interview other people. A really cool thing to do with your lives is to kind of use it like a TV show. Get people excited and consistent with your content. If you go live every Monday night at 7, people start to expect it, right? The Kaylin show or the Maggie show every Monday night where you go on for 10 to 15 minutes or you interview someone. That's how to also really build engagement. Okay, DMs. We're gonna now go into how to sell in DMs, and then we're gonna do some audits. How does that sound to everybody? We're good? Okay. I wanna just comment one more thing here. So with growing your community, there's a couple tricks to grow community on Instagram. Number one, it is collaborations. Interviewing with other people, doing lives with other people, and them sharing it. Be picky about who you do it with. You want their audience to be similar to yours. Same thing goes in your stories. If you can post something about somebody else, they'll share it. Here's a trick. So I even tried it out yesterday so I could have a live example for you. I took 2 photos. Number one is I took a photo of, the Joe Rogan podcast, right? So Joe Rogan had interviewed this guy, David Cho, and he was just the cutest. I loved him. So I took a picture of me watching it on my computer, tag Joe and David, just say, hey, watching the podcast. Nothing. The next day, I videoed myself saying, hey, just listening to the podcast, like loving David. David, this message is for you, man. You're the coolest. I love you. Like, keep being real. He shared it on his feed and I got 10 extra followers just because he shared it. But my point is, people will share you talking about a book review. Like, hey, just reading Gabby's new book. Super awesome. Here's what I learned. They'll use you for promotion. So, but it has to be your face. It usually works better. It also works better on the other side because someone might listen to it or watch it and be like, oh, I love this girl's energy. She's super cute. Right? And so that's what you kind of want. You want your face to get out there as often as possible. Okay. Another quick tip for collabs and lives on Instagram that brings us back to call to action. Remember, I want you to get people's emails. You can also create Eventbrites, promote them through Instagram. So even if you're doing a live, create an Eventbrite for the live so that people can register and sign up. Tell them, if you register for the Eventbrite. That way I'll send you something. Like, tell them, if they give them an incentive. If you register through Eventbrite, I'll send you the PowerPoint, or I'll send you my freebie, or I'll send you a reminder so you don't forget. You want people's emails, okay? So are you seeing how the system is just build community, get their emails, survey them, provide an offer, and provide value? Super simple, okay? Let me say that again so I can get the same order I gave it to you before. Build community, emails, and then survey them and provide value and free stuff, and then give them a call to action and an offer. It's the same thing all the time. Okay, so we're gonna go into the DMs. So I'm assuming that when they get into your DMs, they're there because you've told them to message them. You've told them to message you. DM me love if you want to find the love of your life. DM me style if you want to find your unique style and you want to feel good on Monday morning, whatever it is. Once they get into your DMs, common mistakes. Here's what I need you to remember. Keep the messages short. Only one question at a time. If you are saying too much, it just sounds like a sales pitch. It's literally one question. How would you talk to a friend? Your main questions that they need to answer. Number one, what are their current challenges? And number 2 is, what are their goals? So that you can determine, are they a good fit for whatever your offer was? I'll give you some exact examples. In your DMs, also don't be scared to send voice notes or videos. Don't send, here's a caution, again, back to common mistakes. Sometimes people send too many, and I don't want to listen to voice notes all the time. So if it's just a quick, like, hey, you're awesome, I love your energy, good. But don't send a voice note or a video every time. It can get a little bit time consuming. And I know, especially if people don't listen to things on volume, they might forget about your voice note. Okay. So common mistakes, the keeping it short, not being clear for a call to action, as well as not being persistent enough. When you're selling in your DMs, you do not go more than 24 hours without an answer. If the person does not respond in 24 hours, you can be pleasantly persistent, and you literally just say, hey, are you still interested? Question mark. Hey, everything okay? Hey, you still there? It's okay. Make it really short as a follow-up, but just assume they just forgot or they couldn't listen to it. But when you're selling in DMs, you have to be persistent. Okay? So I'm going to give you a couple examples of how you might say that. So assuming they message you, you would say back like, hey, so happy that you're interested in XYZ. Tell me more about your relationship goals right now. Hey, thank you so much for messaging me. Tell me more about your weight loss goals. Okay? And so that I know how to help you, right? You don't even need to add that last, but if you want to, you can. You wait for their answer and then you send them another question. Great. Why haven't you gotten there yet? What are your challenges right now? You wait for their response. Then you know what to send them. Then you know how to sell them. Is this making sense? I want it to be very easy, very clear. If you keep that structure with everything, you can hire someone to sell in your DMs for you. And then you can say to them when they've responded, great, so glad, sounds like there's a lot here. Let's hop on a one-on-one call. Or that's so awesome. I'm 100% sure I can help you. I think this course might be perfect for you. Or I think this might be perfect for you. That way they are feeling heard. And you're not just selling blanket, like a blanket sale. They think like, oh, like, Vanessa understands me. She knows what my challenges are. She's giving me a specific solution to my problem. Okay. Okay. Let's go into, I always give so much info. So I'm going to take another 10, 15 minutes max, and we're going to do some live audits. Do you ladies have any questions right now before we go into some live audits? No? Okay, cool. So I'm going to go here. Okay, Jessica, we're doing you first. Are you ready, girl? Okay, yeah. I'm going to pull it up.
I actually have to go anyway, so I'm glad that you're doing me first.
Okay, perfect. Well, you were the first one on the thing. Okay, so while I am pulling this up, I would love for you to tell me how do you want people to feel?
I want people to feel safe and trusting and open. I want people to, because when you're speaking about intimacy and relationships, it's a very vulnerable topic. So I want people to know that they can have those conversations without feeling judgment back.
Okay, cool. So you also need people to feel warm and invited and like comforted, like a big hug almost when they're coming in, so they feel safe to open. Okay, yes. Great. So I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
And if you ladies are watching, okay, I have my dream board in the background, which you might be able to see. And you can totally tell I'm one of those people that has 30 tabs along the top. Not sure if you can see that, but here we're at Jessica. So Jess, I want to applaud you. Your profile pic is great. Make sure it's consistently the same one. So pick a profile pic you really like, make it the same. Okay. Holistic intimacy and relationship coach, cool. Lead with love. Okay. So one thing is, what do you have a specific, are you an expert in one specific thing? You know, and you may or may not be. Like, do you work with, I'm just throwing everything out, right? Like, do you work with people that are divorced? Do you work with people who are in relationships? Do you work with people who aren't? You could be a little bit more specific in your bio as to who specifically you're helping and what you help them to do. But I also know that the bios are limited with the amount of what's it called? The amount of characters you can use. So what you do have here is great as well, because you do talk about, you know, here are some of your credentials, but if you could be a little bit more specific.
Okay. You
Yeah.
talked about being specific. So what was do you remember what your first thing was?
Like divorce or whatever.
Something about credentials, like you want me to put my schooling?
Oh no, like even these things, if I'm being honest, people don't really care about your
Actual.
people don't really care about you being on the, if you needed more characters, I would take out so what I would do is next to Jessica here, I would take out this RNT, RHN, CNP. People don't know what that is. I'd put relationship coach there.
Okay.
Okay. And then I would use extra characters. I would even take out featured on global news, because I would rather know who you help. I want people to look at your bio and think, yep, this is me. She can help me.
Okay.
Right? I mean, what you have here is good, but it just depends if you want to get more specific. And then I'd for sure put relationship coach. Another thing that you can do, 2 apps that are really useful. InShot, INSHOT, is really helpful for editing your videos and your photos. And then one other thing, if you look me up on Instagram, you'll notice that my name is in cursive. This is really cool right now, because when people look you up, you'll stand out from the entire list because everybody else's name will be like that. So if you go to meta tags, METATAGS, you can pick a different font and then copy and paste your name as a different font, so it stands out from the other people that they're looking up on Instagram.
That's on InShot?
No, that's on meta tags.
Oh, meta tags is the actual app.
Yeah. And then InShot is the one for videos and pictures. I would also expand your highlights. Okay. So I would look at your highlights to be testimonials for sure, and how people can work with you, making it really clear. You can also do one for tips, or if you look at the things that you teach about, you could even have a different highlight for each one of those topics. But I'd utilize your highlights a little bit more. Okay, and then we go through, yeah, I mean, yours looks really professional. Your photos are super, yeah, you're doing a really good job. I think if we look at the words that you gave me, I would add more warmth. Because sometimes, and this is where you have to figure out your brand. I know you work with intimacy and sexuality, but it can scare a lot of people. So looking at how do I add more warmth and safety, and it's actually through your face. So the more times they'll see you smile and loving and like leading with love in your pictures, it'll make them feel safe. And then what I would do is just go back into, write out the words that you want people to feel, and then just be really specific as to, do people feel that? You can even just do a quick poll with some friends. Like, do you feel these words? What words do you feel when you look at my Instagram? And that's a good test for anybody. Yeah. So I would just add more smiling photos for sure, and more pictures of you. How does that feel?
vulnerable, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so then there's the catch-22. If you want people to be more vulnerable with you, you have to be more vulnerable with others.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do one more audit here. Stop video. Chat.
I have to hop off, so I'm gonna
No
grab
worries.
the video after.
You will see
Thanks.
it after. Okay. Bye, Jess.
Have a good night.
You too. Okay, we're gonna do Tatiana's.
Oh, you don't have to do mine because I'm literally like I haven't really like started fully doing mine. But I guess you can see it if you want.
Anyways? Okay, we can see it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I feel like mine's like super business at the moment.
That's okay.
Probably.
That's totally cool too. Okay. Okay, so the same. So I love that your picture is right up front. Loving your red lips. It's super attractive and captivating. I would try to be a little bit more specific as to, now that you said that you're doing more coaching, what do you coach people with?
Yeah.
Because your personal photo, you know why? Because I'm on the TLC. Okay, we'll just follow you back there. And then because I'm following you on my personal one. Yeah, and then because I don't know what you coach on, okay, so same question. How do you want people to feel, and what results do you help people to get?
Right. So, I'm just doing all the research now and trying to figure out the branding and everything. Cause I feel like a lot of stuff, what I do now is, I've built up my business and working on that, but I've also come from kind of breaking down many boundaries to get there. And I feel like I haven't really shared that with people. People don't know how I kind of did all that. So I'm kind of going from the stance of building tenacity and just kind of kicking your ass kind of coach.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So your line could literally be, I kick your ass into blah, blah, blah.
Yes. That's actually what I was thinking.
Right. Yeah. And the more simple you are, the better. And that's awesome. You too have really great, I love your professional photos. You look super warm and professional. I love that you have lifestyle and you have your dog. People love animals, and that you're in different locations. Even if you can stage it, people really like to see different types of photos. Your photos are really beautiful. So that's the only thing. I'd just be consistent and then add more videos.
Yeah.
Once you get going. Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks for sharing. Cool.
Thanks.
And then so I'm going to show you mine as the last one. And then if you have specific questions, you can message me. So see here how my name's in cursive. So it just kind of stands out. So I help leaders and celebs scale their business with inner peace. So then here are the topics that I teach on: millionaire mindset, networking, relationships, community strategy, and sales. Here's my link, and then my link tree. The thing about Linktree is good. One of my mentors who sells everything on social, he only likes to put the exact call to action. So if I were even better, and this is all just personal preference, is if I just did a story today, which I did on this workshop tonight, this link would just be the workshop. It wouldn't even be the link tree. So when I launch my course, this will only be my course, because I'll be super, super serious about this, because you want to lower the barrier to entry again. You want to make it super simple. So when they click here, see, there's too many options. I don't want people to have to read. I want them to just go directly to my course. Okay. Here I have a mixture of video and pictures. Here's my scroll carousel. So you'll be able to see too the difference, when I look at my stats of what people are liking, sharing, and saving. Yeah. And then also I'm playing around with the picture with my text is also responding better than some of just quotes. So if you can add a picture or a graphic, then those also work better too. So see how this one has your body as an ecosystem, but this one worked pretty well as well. But you can just kind of see and play around with whatever the topic is that you're discussing, might also be helpful to put on the picture. so that people can know what you're talking about when they're looking through. So even if nobody clicks on it, they'll be able to see. I'm actually thinking about changing some of these, but you can see in my highlights, the first one's results, like the testimonials. Then I go into the community coaching, like travel. I'm going to start changing these to these millionaire mindset things as I launch my course. However, they're working pretty decent right now, specifically the results. And I think that's about it. Yeah. So you can see here that I'm starting to put text on photos, and then those are going pretty well. These videos go really well for saving. And this I did on InShot with the white bars on the top and the bottom. It also is really good to put your, what's it called? The captioning, like closed captioning on the bottom. You can use a different websites that'll do it for you automatically. You can also upload it to YouTube, because YouTube will do it automatically for you. And then you can take out the closed captioning and put it in yourself. You can hire someone, a VA. You know, I actually have this cutest guy from India who's doing some right now for me. So there's lots of different ways to do it for your videos. They also get, the likelihood of them getting shared when they have a closed captioning is a little bit easier, but make sure you have a title on it, because at least then people know what you're talking about and they will either go back or save it. So I noticed the ones with titles have more saves than those that don't. Cool. Okay. Any other, thanks for hanging in there with me, ladies, as we went over.
Hey, Vanessa, do you think that we could do earlobe really quick, the earring business?
Yeah, of course. Okay, cool. And I just spell it how?
It's, so it was in the comments, it's E-E-R.
Oh, is it still there? I didn't see
Yeah.
it. Okay, let me go in. Okay. Okay, I have to stop the share. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. Thank you. I'm going to do it. Okay, cool. Okay, I love your consistency. I love your highlights. And obviously you have a font, which is great. And you're starting to use videos. Yeah, I mean, that looks, so these are all like testimonials, basically.
Right.
Okay, cool. What are your greatest challenges with your social media right now?
So for us, I think that we have a really good base of followers that purchase a lot because they are friends, family, you know, things like that. We're trying to get over the barrier of getting out to other people.
Yeah. Okay.
So we don't get a ton of, like, we have like 300 followers. We're posting every day. It feels like we're doing the right things. It's just not resonating.
Okay. With the, are you getting people to share your content? You might need some, like, you basically need your people to share.
Okay.
Right? So I would, with some call to action. So I would do a few key things. Number one is making sure you get everyone's emails that you do currently have in your, so having a download and or some sort of contest where you can get everyone's email. I would also do some sort of contest or share. I would give a call to action for people to tag your BFF who would look great in these earrings. Tag, you know, you want your people to be sharing your brand with others. You know, where they have to tag 5 people or follow these people in order to be involved. Also, looking at collabs would be really great. You know, getting people to buy into your brand, your values, your belief system, so that other people will, you know, micro influencers or other influencers that can wear your product that can also share. Like, look how awesome these are. You know, I love them, whatever. Whether you give it to them for free or you just ask them. Here's the thing when you're working with collaborations. What I would do is just be real and authentic. Like, hey, here's my brand. You know, is this something that fits your personal style, what would make it worth it for you to collaborate? Or, you know, we're doing some more lives. I think the TV show thing would be super fun for you. You know, every Monday, again, looking at the themes. How do you want people to feel? Confident and sexy and pretty and whatever those things are. And then bringing in different people that also have a similar target demographic that believe in those same beliefs and core beliefs. Then you can have mini interviews with them, make them the expert on your account. Then they'll share your account. And then you don't have to give away anything for free. It's just your time. And then you kind of see and audit how that goes over time.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What about hashtags, Vanessa? Do you use those?
Yeah, I do. Right now, again, Instagram's changing so many things. What I can recommend for hashtags is when you do a hashtag, you can see how many people have tagged it. It's usually beneficial to have a mixture of high, medium, and low. What that means is people that have, you know, a hashtag that has a lot of searches, a hashtag that has like a middle amount, and then not a lot. So just have a variety of searchable content so that, you know, the lower ones become your hashtags that you're known for. The middle ones are people that are a little bit more specific, that are researching a specific thing. And then the broader ones are just, you know, the broader one that it comes up on a feed. It's also really helpful, and Kaylin, I don't know if you guys do this, but to like and comment and engage on other people. My VA does that for me. She will comment and engage on other people's accounts on my behalf, and it's really helpful. Instagram pods are also really helpful, where I'm part of 2 right now. And what happens is you get, you know, 5 or 10 people, and you commit to commenting on liking each other's things. What that does is it helps to, right now, kind of beat the algorithm of Instagram. And I say right now because it's always changing, so that you have more comments and it looks like you have more engagement. So we just make sure we always are commenting on each other's things. It also is like the, you know, the busy restaurant. When you see someone's eating at a restaurant, you're more likely to go there. So when people see that other people are already commenting, it breaks down that barrier, and it makes people feel comfortable to comment as well. You need to just break that down so people feel like engaging. And then what I would do if I look at some of your comments, so like I would just change your captions to the structure that we talked about, and just making them a little bit more call to action. So like, hey ladies, you know, loving these earrings. These are our favorite with a pair of, you know, boyfriend jeans and a casual tee. What would you wear these earrings with? Who would look great in these earrings? You know, what do these earrings remind you of? These earrings remind me of a sunset. And I love when my jewelry evokes like an emotion and a feeling in me. What's your favorite piece of jewelry? Or these earrings remind me of when I was in Mexico. Like, what was your favorite trip? And, you know, you just want to keep engaging and connecting it to an emotion. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I hope this is helpful. How does all of this feel for you ladies? Do you have any last questions before we finish up the training? What is your biggest takeaway from today? And what are you taking with you as we end this training today?
Be okay with being bad.
Okay, cool.
I think that, you know, I'm one of those people that it's like, I call myself a recovering perfectionist.
Yeah.
It paralyzes me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you saw Gary Vee, he's super aggressive. Yeah. However, he just posted a video this week saying that perfectionism is bullshit because it's just a word that we use for insecure. And it's true. Like when we're perfectionists, we're just hiding our insecurities. So figure out what you're really fearful and insecure about, and then continue to go from there.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to continue to come up. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely fear of criticism, which is why I'm, you know, don't put myself out there, but yeah.
Yeah. And they will. Like, I'm not even kidding you. We could talk about this forever. I mean, I've been attacked so many times on social media.
Right.
And at the beginning, it's devastating. It really is, because you're like, people don't know me. Like, that's not who I am. But it's really just part of the game. And it's really like, what do you stand for? And just being so rooted in your beliefs and just knowing, and it's so hokey, like just knowing and having empathy, because if they're treating you like that, like imagine how they're treating themselves. But it's real. Like, hate on the internet is super real right now. It's really bad. It's really bad. But if you can be a light and just know that your people, like, you're talking for your people, you're talking for those people that need you, and to not talk because of the fear, you need to be stronger than that. Yeah. But it sucks. Like, it really sucks that we are in that world. And now you can see, like, people are saying shit that they don't even believe just so that people won't attack them, right? But we need people that will be strong in their belief system and come from love, whatever, in every industry, whatever you're selling. Yeah. I get it. Cool. Okay, Kaylin, what are you taking away from today?
So I think that we definitely need a little bit more of maybe the lifestyle piece in our Instagram. I think that, me and my sisters all are at very different stages in our lives. And so I think if we highlight where we're at, it could be easier for people to relate to the brand.
Yeah.
And then also just the variety in videos and different things, rather than just like earrings in people's faces.
Do you know who Dylan Lex is?
No.
Okay, look her up. It is an LA brand. She sells just jewelry. DYLAN. Look it up. I'll look it up. Dylan Lex. Okay, I can check. And she just does an amazing job at selling her stuff by styling. And she's like, this is how I wear this. This is what I do with this. This is the way it makes me feel. This is how I was inspired to make this piece. Like, people want to know the story. Like, this is where you can bring in the nostalgia, right? Like, Kaylin made this, and this was inspired by when she was 4 years old and she played with Barbies, and this was the same earring that the Barbie wore. Like, oh, that's so cute. Like, anything, right? That just makes it a little bit more relatable. Dylan, let me see.
I can also add on to that. I have a girlfriend who started a fashion brand called Matri Aura, and I bought like quite a few pieces from her. She's in Croatia right now, and she literally takes you shopping with her for fabric in stories. And it's like so cool, because I'm like, I want a dress from that. Awesome. And I've literally bought that.
So cute. See? So this one is DYLANLEX.
Okay.
And she just does such a good job at styling, and she's evolved her brand so much. And her pieces are expensive, right? But she sells them because I've literally watched so many of her videos, and I'm like, I want that. That looks so good. And you start to imagine yourself styling and thinking, man, that necklace that she just posted the other day would look so good with what I'm wearing. Right? So just have some more fun with it. Cool.
Perfect.
Okay. And ladies, please message me, and I'm happy to chat more about it. Tatiana, what are you taking away from today? I know you're just shifting your brand right now.
I am. Yeah. I just need to just do it and just kind of take the plunge, because I've been kind of ruminating on a lot of thoughts for the last 2 months. So I just need to just do it. So this was super helpful. I'm just trying to
cool. Great.
Get the research done.
Yeah, right. If you have more questions about technical, like, even, I don't know if this is useful. I thought we'd get there, but I always just talk way too much and give too many things. So if you need actual help on, like, how do I actually post on my feed? How do I didn't go there because I know people have different skills, but if you have any questions and you're confused about how I did anything on my account, like, I get messages like that all the time. Like, how did you post this? Or how did you add video or whatever to this? Let me know, and I'm happy to give you more info as well. Okay, awesome. Okay, well, enjoy. Have a great evening, ladies. And I'm going to send you a follow-up email after this as well with some additional apps that I talked about. And then we can kind of go from there. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Yeah.